President Obama and House Speaker John Boehner don't agree on much. So it was a big victory for the president today when the top Republican announced that he supports military action against Syria. This action would be punishment for what the administration says was a nerve gas attack that left more than 1,400 Syrian civilians dead, including more than 400 children. This was the speaker today after meeting with the president.
This is something that the United States as a country needs to do. I'm going to support the president's call for action. I believe my colleagues should support this call for action.
It's not clear how many Republicans Boehner can bring along to vote for a resolution endorsing a military strike. President Obama said again today that he has decided that the United States should take action against Syria, but that it would be more effective if Congress authorized it. Today, he sent his secretaries of state and defense to Capitol Hill to make the case. Nancy Cordes is there. Nancy, put Boehner's endorsement in context for us.
Well, Scott, it doesn't guarantee victory for the president on this vote, but he almost certainly would have lost without it. So it is a breakthrough for the White House, especially when paired with the backing from the House Minority Leader, Nancy Pelosi, who is hardly a hawk, but who says this time is different.
Hundreds of children were killed. This is behavior outside the circle of civilized human behavior, and we must respond.
Her support and Speaker Boehner's will convince some skeptics, though not all. Democrat Rick Nolan at home in Minnesota says he doubts the administration can keep its promise not to deploy ground troops.
Well, guess what? A strike inevitably leads to retaliation, which leads to a change in circumstances. And the very same people who were against boots on the ground are now the ones, guess who, are saying, well, I guess we're going to have to put some boots on the ground here to get this done.
This is not the time for armchair isolationism.
At the first of several hearings scheduled for this week, Secretary of State John Kerry was pressed on the issue of ground troops by Republican Senator Bob Corker of Tennessee.
Well, I don't think there are any of us here that are willing to support the possibility of having combat boots on the ground, and I do hope as we move through this, the administration can be very clear in that regard.
Well, let me be very clear now. There will not be American boots on the ground with respect to the Civil War.
Kerry was joined by Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. General Martin Dempsey described publicly for the first time the military's plans for targeted strikes in response to a question from Florida Republican Marco Rubio.
How confident are you, and how confident can you express to this committee you are, that we can, in fact, put in place a military plan that's limited in scope and duration that can effectively degrade Assad's capability to carry out future chemical attacks?
I'm confident in the capabilities we can bring to bear to deter and degrade, and it won't surprise you to know that we will have not only an initial target set, but subsequent target sets should they become necessary.
Kerry argued that failing to strike Syria would put U.S. allies like Israel and Jordan at greater risk because it would embolden Assad to get more creative with chemical weapons. Scott, it's still too early to say whether the president's resolution will pass next week, but it certainly has more momentum today than it did just a couple of days ago.
And Nancy, we spoke to the White House late today and talked to a senior official who said the president believes he has the authority to go ahead without Congress. The White House official would not say what the president would do if Congress votes no. Nancy, thanks very much.